Hi, I'm Eiley.
I'm John, and this is Hamish.
And we're turning our 20 acres of wild Tasmanian bush into our dream homestead, one crazy, awesome project at a time. It's our first morning after moving into our 20-acre property here in Tasmania, and I thought it would be nice to celebrate with coffee and homemade almond croissants. Waking up here was a world away from what we are used to. No hum of traffic, no distant mumble of city life, just silence, stillness, and a gentle chorus of birdsong. It's not all perfect, however. That night we were woken several times by an eager possum making itself known right outside our window. We are also pretty sure we heard a Tasmanian devil too. It's a reminder that nature here is not just picturesque, it's alive and unfiltered. Hamish giggled as we spread the creamy almond filling and sprinkled almonds on top. The smell of baking croissant filled our little kitchen. A comforting, warm and new beginning to our chapter here in the bush. It was quite a chilly morning, so I was further inspired to make beef stock from scratch for stew for dinner later that evening. I've always been a rather keen cook, but found myself cooking less and less from scratch after Hamish was born, for obvious reasons, but I am slowly getting more motivated, inspired to get back in the kitchen. With the space being so small and open plan, I find I am better able to cook with Hamish being present, as he feels a part of the activity. This is one of many advantages I am finding of living in a smaller space and being so connected with nature.
Well, we've been here for 4 days. Mm-hmm. This is the fourth day.
Fourth day now. And yeah, it's been an absolute whirlwind. Like with any big move, there's highs, lows, and everything in between.
Yeah, with the amount of jobs and small jobs that we needed to get done before moving in, it's been such a big push to get in, only to open up a bunch of more jobs once we've moved.
Yes.
Hamish loves the inside we found.
He does.
He loves the open plan feel of the smaller house. He can kind of always find one of us, see one of us, loves running around, we're always there, so that's been great. Found that Hamish likes the outside, but he's been a bit scared or a bit hesitant, and I think that was mainly because it's
more bush. This land is bush, and he's not really been exposed to bush. He loved the outside in our suburban property, loved the garden, but we realised it's not bush. So you've got these beautiful bush sounds, we've got this vast open space, we've got these big trees, and I think it's just a little bit daunting for him. But day by day, he's getting a little bit more comfortable. He goes outside for a little bit longer. So we will get there.
And it's helped
the process.
It's helped a little bit since I got a mower in just to kind of cut back the grass and cut back a lot of the bracken and clear a bit of land for us. Just
so
to
that
make
was
it a
the
bit
priority
more
when we moved in. That shifted for me because Hamish really did not want to go anywhere near the really high grasses, so we decided to tackle that first. So John hired a ride-on mower and was on it for the entire day and cleared the vast majority of the land where we are down the bottom with the house and then up here, and that's made a huge difference. And you're now spending a week for the excavation work. Yeah,
I just got an excavator delivered this morning while we're having breakfast, and that I'll jump on that this week and clear all the driveway, get all the driveway regraded. I've got some water tanks to prep for, so I'll get those bases done and ready to go for the water tanks delivered later in the week. And we're also getting a load of compost and wood chips delivered so we can set up our veggie beds, our garden beds, and mulch all the pathways between them. So that'll also come this week. And yeah, do a bit of grading of the land and recut some of the driveway just to really get the shape that we're wanting to move forward with and kind of get it towards that. We're not going to get there all this week, but it'll be a step towards what we're getting there in the future.
Incremental changes is what our motto is. we really like the saying, you often overestimate what you can do in a day and underestimate what you can do in a year. So this time last year, there was barely any, the property was in shocking condition.
Ooh, it sat vacant for a year?
Yeah.
It sat vacant for a year and nothing had been touched, so yeah.
And with a baby as well, it's a hard slog, and it will continue to be a hard slog, but it'll be worth it.
Yes.
And I guess that's the other thing I wanted to touch on as well, talk about the reality of having a large property and doing it up, especially with a small baby and young children, because it's really hard. Not only the work itself is hard, but, you know, if you're lucky to have 2 people, then one person is always looking after the baby and there's only one person who's working, and it's really, really hard. And you have some really hard days, and I'm not too proud to admit sometimes you question whether or not you've done the right thing. They're in the minority, but it can happen. But we've, most of the time we're really, really happy that we made this decision. We know what the benefits that it will bring us as a family, and also it's nap time.
It's nap time.
And him as well. But look forward to documenting it all for us and hopefully for you guys as well.
Good morning. Well, good morning for me. I'm up here this morning with Hamish. Going to knock over the last few things just before we move in. We move in tomorrow. Just want to get the hot water system sorted and put in. So Hamish and I are going to put some of the fittings together, tape them up, ready to go. I've got a friend coming this afternoon who will finish hooking that up for us. But we'll just get it in position and get a few things sorted on it just to speed up the process, because he's going to do it after the work on his way home. Hopefully, while Hamish is if I can get Hamish down for a nap, I'm going to get the water filter between the pump. So we've got a tank. From the tank, we've got a pump that pumps into the house. So between the pump and the house, I'm just going to temporarily hook up the 2-stage water filter. So a 4-inch water filter. I've got a 20 micron and a 5 micron filter. So I'll get that all set up. It's just going to be temp. I don't have any spare fittings or spare pipe with me. It's just to get the water filtered temporarily until we get the new tanks here. I'll set it all up outside. I've got a pump and filter housing coming, or going to make a housing up, and that's all going to be out from underneath the house, because currently where the water pump is installed, it's right underneath the bedroom. Obviously, it's not amazing if Hamish is napping and maybe he's having a light nap or something like that. You don't really want to go and turn the washing machine on or turn anything on, because it's going to start the pump constantly. So that's one of the main reasons for wanting to move it outside, and service as well. You've got to climb out under the house every time you want to change something on the pump or change a filter. It's just inconvenient. With the water in the tank itself, it doesn't have any first stage flush system. So it's a charge line currently as well. So it gets a bit slimy probably in the pipe when it sits a bit long, and when you get that first rain, it gets a lot of gunk and organic matter into the filter, the sieve at the top of the tank. I put a sieve on it, an extra sieve on it, to help reduce that, and I clean it regularly. But one of the things when I move the tank is I want to turn the plumbing, I want to come straight from the downpipe to the tank, and in that I'm going to put in a first flush, but I'll do that in the future when we get that new tank, and all the plumbing and all of that will be outside.
Anyone's found a easy way to apply that? Let me know.
Previously, a couple of weeks ago, I tested the water and got it treated, so it's perfectly fine. Testing wise, it's just more any of the particles and organic matter, any kind of gross stuff and colour and tinge, just from that dust and dirt being washed off the roof into the line. So filters for that, and then I'll get it all sorted with the nice new tank. It's not going to be perfect. You're always going to get a little bit of organic matter into the tank and a bit of dust and stuff, but if you try and reduce it as much as possible for it getting in there, it means your filters last longer as well and don't have to be changed or cleaned out as often. We picked up and used these plastic compost bins over the last, I'd say 4 to 6 months at our Hobart place. was mainly our kitchen scraps, but also some weeds from the property and all the spent veggies once they'd finished their cycle. I'm really happy with the progress these have made already. The amount of worms, the stickiness of the compost, it's broken down. It's really quite nice where it has broken down. Other areas, once it gets turned, I'll be adding these to the new tent beds I've built at the property. Those beds are pretty much, or those bins, are pretty much filled with weeds and anything I've brush cut down, so bracken ferns, lots of thistle. We put a lot of thistle in there and just some grass. So those have been built up. There's a bunch of brown in there, green in there, and then I'll be adding these in there and then adding a bit more of the brown and green that we've got there. Hopefully just to speed one of those bins up, get it moving a bit. We've got to clear some gravel at the base of our driveway, do some grading, fill in some washout, had a bit of an erosion issue, and cut in some new culverts to stop that happening again, and then cut in some new batters into those culverts just to help with the erosion. And to do that, I just need to clear a bunch of wattles so I can get those batters in properly so they're not too steep. And that's what we're doing this afternoon. As you can see, we've got no shortage of wattles on the property. They self-seed really well and they've taken over a bit, which has been great because they help with the erosion and they've helped keep the soil together and get a bit of stability in the land here. But we just want to thin them down a little bit and get some other local natives back in just to help with the balance. None of the wattle that we've cut down or going to cut down will go to waste either. It'll either be mulched or chippered, and we'll be either turning that into compost or mulching garden beds or between the veggie beds, and we'll be using that in the future. Well, I've got the machine here today, working on the driveway section where I cut down those wattles the other day. Just getting a bit of a grade in, tidy up, just making it so it's easier car access, and same for, I've got like water tanks coming and some materials for our garden beds and water tank areas. So I wanted to have the access as easy as possible. Plus we've got some friends with the caravan and a few other things. So just wanted to get that sorted out down there. And now I'm gonna work my way up. I'm gonna move my spoil pile across to the side, store that for later use. And I'm gonna cut in the culvert and just batter off this high side. So I've managed to get a fair bit done with the machine, managed to get the driveway graded off down the bottom, spread the gravel pile I had down there, cut in all the culvert all the way up. I've still got a bunch of spoil to scrape up and get rid of and to clean out the ditch itself. But apart from that, it's pretty much sorted. Managed to get all the gravel spread to fill in the deepest ruts all over the driveway. Unfortunately, all the shed water and all the surface water, because it wasn't in a culvert anymore, it was just running across the drive, and that's what chewed it all out. That's why there's these big ruts all through the driveway, which I've filled up with the fine crushed rock, and we'll wait for a little bit of rain, which we've got coming, and I'll compact that. Excuse me. And I'll also compact down the bottom where I've got all that red gravel spread. I'll get to spreading this red gravel in the future. That's for all the ruts that are currently need to be compacted. That's just to level it all off and get us a nice even surface. This is not the 100% driveway. This is just so that we can get our deliveries, we can live here for the next couple of years, and then we'll want to really give the driveway a really good proper cut in, grade, and re-level off and a new surface. I managed to get both tank pads dug, scraped out, leveled off, and the fine crushed rock installed, so that's great. I've got one more pad to do in the future, but the base of it is pretty much sorted. I just need to get the material here because I decided to use it to fill up all the ruts on the driveway rather than prep another pad, which we're probably not going to have a tank for in the next 6 months. Currently the driveway comes off and there's an option to come off left at the Y intersection as our turning circle. that's being removed, and the turning circle's being moved up to the top, up to near the shed, where it makes a bit more sense. And then this is going to be all filled in. I'm going to use all the spoil from the culvert. That's all being transferred into there, and I'm going to pretty much return that slope of the land back to how it was. I had this bottom section of the driveway graded off and was intending to head down this morning after some overnight rain to give it a bit of a compaction. Unfortunately, we had an early delivery who got a little stuck, so we're just getting that fixed up now. I'll either have to wait for the next rain or use some of our tank water to give it a compaction so we can avoid this happening again. We took a little family trip down to the horticulture supply yard to check out their selection of compost for our no-dig garden beds, and we are now excitedly awaiting its delivery. Thank you for watching. See you next time.